What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is T. Lawrence, and welcome to the 2026 Summer Progress Report. Think of this as a midterm evaluation report you receive at your job, school, or any other task. And the reason why I'm doing this is because ever since I did the State of the Channel video back in February, a lot has already changed from what I originally planned out. Furthermore, due to so many developments this summer, including the release of Halo Campaign Evolved, plans for the rest of the year have also been revamped significantly. Projects I originally intended to start now have to be postponed for the new developments. Therefore, now you finally understand the words in the thumbnail, Lawrence of Flip-Flopia. And with the flip-flop counter on the upper right corner, let's get to it. First, on a fundamental level, the channel has been going in the overall direction I want. I finally departed from making Helltaker content and got to explore other fandoms like Halo, Fallout, and some Flash games. And no, I'm still not gonna do furry ASMR. It will never happen, Dex. Don't even dream about it. Anyways, I still plan on doing a lot of lore and retrospective videos of my favorite fandoms. However, I did end up diverting away significantly from the specific game plan I laid out in February's video. Not too long afterwards either. Number 1, my initial plan was to release one video per month. Yeah, that did not last even a couple days. More specifically, I wanted to release these highly edited 30-minute plus long videos, perhaps even an hour long, every month so I could prioritize quality over quantity. However, I very quickly backtracked on that because 1, my life circumstances don't allow me to create such long videos, and 2, banking your channel growth on these really long but infrequent uploads just isn't a good gamble. Nowadays, most people don't have the time to watch these really long videos, especially with shorts becoming so prevalent. And unless my video qualities are on par with that of, say, Oversimplified, which they're not, I can't afford to just disappear for over a month. Therefore, I have since shortened my videos to more manageable lengths and prioritized faster uploads. And so far it seems to pay off more, so that's settled. Therefore, there's flip-flop number 1. Number 2, for this year of 2026, I strictly wanted to stick to lore and retrospective content. I did contemplate making reviews and other subjects, but I didn't want to bite off more than I could chew, so I put it off. But once again, my curious mind went astray, and I dabbled with other ideas like Starside Hours, where I rambled about miscellaneous topics and even recorded some podcasts with the likes of Corrupted Judge and Chocoburb, thus charting off course once more. Therefore, there's flip-flop number 2. And then, last month in June, when Summer Game Fest came around, I was so enamored with the new developments that I started making news commentary videos sharing my thoughts on them. Another first time endeavor, as well as flip-flop number 3. And now, as of July 2026, I've already had to cancel pretty much all the content I planned out for the rest of the year due to the upcoming release of Halo Campaign Evolved. My original plan for the remainder of 2026 was to finish off the rest of the Fallout factions, as well as to cover some more Flash games and lore videos for the Halo Universe series. However, the upcoming release of Halo Campaign Evolved, which is in July 28th, has completely derailed all of those plans, as now I'm preparing for a multi-part review series for said game. I'm anticipating it to be 4 parts, but it may expand depending on how good or bad the game is. And I hope to God that it's good. And because this review series will take up a lot of time, I had no choice but to set aside the original plans and make room. So, there's flip-flop number 4. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Is Halo Campaign Evolved really that important? I know you love Halo, Lawrence, but damn, it seems like you're overcommitting to it. And to that I say, yes, it's that important, and I will explain more in detail later. Suffice it to say, as you can see, already in 5 months, this channel has gone so far astray from its initial vision. A reflection of how messy and disorganized I can be with my plans, as well as how turbulent and unstable the entire YouTube landscape is. This then brings me to the next section, which is going to be a bit more rambling, where I unload some thoughts about YouTube in general, so I hope you don't mind. In my first Starside Hours episode, I argued how it's perfectly okay for YouTubers to change. How you shouldn't be shackled to a specific niche and instead embrace your dynamic interests and the landscape the platform offers. And I still very much stand by those basic tenets. No one should be a prisoner to any niche or algorithm. Ultimately, you should be authentic and create what you're truly passionate about. But with that being said, I do want to clarify some things as well. While passion and authenticity indeed take precedence, that does not mean you can just create whatever the hell you want and hope for the best. This isn't me contradicting or walking back my previous points, but rather recognizing how there still needs to be an actual strategy. The fact is, YouTube is very much like a game, where there are rules you must follow, as well as opportunities that can either make or break your progress. Sure, you could just be a casual player and wander through YouTube like a hobby, but if you want to take YouTube seriously, much more make a living out of it, you have to take it more seriously by doing some research on the rules, taking advantage of all the power-ups, knowing where to stay away, and overall having a proper game plan. To give one crucial example, timing is very important. In fact, one could argue that timing is everything. Knowing which subjects are trending in the media landscape, which subjects will be trending in the future, and overall being aware of the cultural zeitgeist. Now, I used to really look down on people chasing trends, considering the whole practice to be inauthentic and clout chasing. How they're just doing it for the views without any true passion behind it. And yes, those kinds of people certainly do exist. However, after doing YouTube for a while now, and seeing how some channels skyrocket while others stagnate, I'm finally starting to understand why trends aren't something you can just ignore anymore. The active go-getters who are always on top of trends and take advantage of them are the ones who grow the fastest, while those who just shut out the rest of the world and do their own thing, more often than not end up stagnating and miss out on everything. And I was one of them. I was one of those shut-ins who deliberately shut out the rest of the world and just wanted to focus on my own niche little thing. And while the rest of the world was moving forward and growing, I was stuck in my own little bubble, wondering why I wasn't going anywhere. Well, go figure. Fortunately, the relative success of my 2 Fallout videos finally showed me the importance of timing. While most of my videos so far have only gained a couple hundred views, both my Brotherhood of Steel and NCR videos are around 1.5 thousand views as of now. Now, I'm not a Fallout channel. In fact, I still know very little about Fallout, especially compared to Halo. Yet, my Fallout videos, as few as they are, seem to perform the best. And after talking to the Cap about it, his theory is that the convenient release of Season 2 of the Fallout show boosted traction for the 2 videos, since Fallout was on everybody's radar. And I fully concur with him. And this finally made me realize how I need to time the rest of my videos right as well, paying attention to the new developments in the media landscape, and anticipating when certain videos will perform well. And yes, this is one reason why I'm making the review series for Halo Campaign Evolved. Sure, it was something I was gonna do anyways, regardless of when it released. But I would be lying if I said I wasn't trying to take advantage of the hype, when all eyes will be on Halo Campaign Evolved in August and the following months. That is, until November when GTA 6 comes out. And this is not soulless trend chasing. It's being strategic. In fact, this is marketing 101. And marketing is so important that there's an entire field of study, and companies have entire divisions dedicated to it. Now, whether they do a good job at that is questionable. But I digress. How do you do, fellow kids? Unfortunately, many artists, and creators in general, struggle because they neglect marketing entirely and think they can succeed by just creating whatever they want. That is 110% wrong, which brings me to the next point. Content cannot be so avant-garde. It can't be so ultra niche that only a dozen people from around the world can relate to it. Sure, you might feel super passionate about this very specific idea you came up with while taking a shower at 3 a.m. But just because you feel that way does not mean everyone else will. I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but ultimately, people are looking for entertainment on YouTube, and you have to provide said entertainment to a sizable enough audience. And this probably means you have to broaden your content a bit to make it more palatable to a larger audience. I'm not saying you should become too broad, or, God forbid, sacrifice your authenticity and passion just for the views. But also understand that not all of your ideas will work out, and there is a trade-off for everything. In the end, in order to grow a channel, much more make it a living, one must provide actual value to others, be it entertainment or education. Unfortunately, there is a strategic way of going about it without having to sacrifice your passion or authenticity, or at least not too much. And it's not just about being aware of the media landscape, but also knowing which audience and demographic you're catering to, as well as collaborating with like-minded creators to grow together, and much more. And once again, you can't just create whatever the hell you want and cross your fingers, hoping for the best. I wish I recognized this much earlier when I was still creating Helltaker fan art. Now don't get me wrong, I'm very glad to have discovered Helltaker. I'm very proud of all the fan arts and fan comics I made, and incredibly thankful to meet some awesome people within the community. And ultimately, this channel's inception is because of Helltaker, so it's always gonna have a special place in my heart. But that being said, I can't help but feel that I wasted so much time and effort trying to cater to a fandom that ultimately wasn't really a good fit for me, nor the kind of content that I like to make. And that's one reason why I started branching out of Helltaker with YouTube, before eventually moving on for good this year. Anyways, that's enough rambling for now. I guess the overall takeaway from that rambling, as well as all the flip-flopping changes I've made, is that YouTube, as well as content creation in general, is a very complex and unstable game, where there really is no guidebook or manual that instructs you how to play said game. You as the creator need to be active and have the self-initiative to experiment with different ideas, figure out what works and what doesn't, and be adaptive to the volatile landscape. And this is something I've started to learn more and more since I moved on from Helltaker, and still struggling to learn, to be honest. But learning is progress, and that is what ultimately matters. And moving forward, I'm gonna be more mindful of important factors like timing and broadening my content's reach. With all that being said, on a more brighter note, here is the schedule for the rest of the year in detail. As stated earlier, starting next month, I will begin a multi-part review series for Halo Campaign Evolved. Once again, it will be a 4-part series, but depending on how the game goes, it may be longer. Afterwards, I'm gonna make some follow-up Halo videos about the future remakes of Halo 2 and 3, as well as a special video on Halo's anniversary, before ending off with a special announcement for the month of December. But of course, like the previous months, this schedule will always be subjected to changes, so this is not an absolute guarantee. As for the channel in general, I will expand its content to not only with reviews and news commentary, but also make it an overall gaming channel, where I do a combination of gaming related content in my own style. This isn't a huge change from retrospectives and lore videos. In fact, I'd say the line between retrospectives and reviews are pretty blurry. And at the end of the day, it's still part of the broader gaming genre, so it's not a radical shift by any means. Certainly not compared to the original intention of this channel, where I intended it to be an art channel to promote my artwork. But now it seems the dynamic is actually reversed, where my artwork is used to promote my channel instead. Therefore, there's another flip-flop. And don't worry, lore videos for both Halo and Fallout will come back eventually. Cap, I know you are eager to see both the Caesar's Legion and Enclave videos this year, though sadly, they will have to wait. But I promise they will come eventually. Otherwise, I know you'd never forgive me for such betrayal, and probably ban me from drinking any Pilsners. Please don't. Next, an update on the second channel. If you remember the first episode of Starside Hours, I announced the hiatus for the second channel, as I just didn't know what to do with it anymore. However, after doing a couple podcasts with my compadres, Corrupted Judge and Chocoburb, I think I finally found a good fit. Furthermore, I think the Starside Hours series in general would also be a much better fit for the second channel, which will serve as a more chill and after dark space compared to the main channel. Therefore, all future podcasts and the Starside Hours series will be moved to the second channel. And of course, another flip-flop. Last but not least, for the remainder of this month and the beginning of August, I will be on a semi-break. I'm probably not going to upload any videos, as I'm going to take the time to work on some art for the Campaign Evolved review series, such as thumbnails, character sprites, and more. Therefore, I'm really locking in for the momentous day that is July 28th. Also on a personal note, next month, I'm taking a weekend trip to New York City to see a friend from college. In fact, I really need this vacation, as I've been feeling a bit burned out. So I'm really looking forward to relaxing a bit before the fall season, which will be very busy as you saw on the schedule. Also, pro tip, do not ask for pineapple pizza in New York City. It's full of Italians, and if you even dare, they will slice off your ass cheeks and nail it to the wall. In fact, my friend, who actually happens to be Italian, will probably disown me if she ever found out that I love pineapple pizza. So, keep it a secret, guys. Please. Shh. Anyways, that finally wraps up the summer progress report with a total of 6 flip-flops. That's not a lot actually. In fact, it's a lot fewer than I thought it would be. Also, since the summer progress report was basically akin to a report card from school, I have a favor to ask you, the viewers. What letter grade would you give my progress so far, with A being the best and F being the worst? Please be as honest as possible. I will not get offended. I want to get honest feedback so I can get better. So thank you in advance. With that finally said, I will see you next month in my first impression of Halo Campaign Evolved. Have a great summer, everyone. Thank you to my patrons on Patreon for supporting this channel. My $5 patrons are Kapitan Sladek, Kidzap, Chocoburb, and Dravenraven. My $2 patrons are Komida the Prep Cook Demon. If you would like to appear at the end credits of my videos, as well as have early access and exclusive content on Patreon, feel free to hop on over to patreon.com/LTELawrence and give a pledge. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching. Until next time, this is T. Lawrence of the Arcadia, signing out.